Great environment. I don't think you could ask for more out of the fans and how this place felt when the game started. And you knew how this was going to look. You really did. Poor Chrest, to walk out there under those conditions when somebody clearly had something going on that's really the worst thing for you as a coach, to have to go watch a kid go through that and come out of the game. And I hope he's okay. I have no info yet on what's going on. Clearly something was. And managing that, we did the best we could to manage that game for the better part of 8 innings. And I think even though it was a difficult loss, and clearly Florida played a nice game with quality arms, every mistake we made, we paid for. We had counts, 0-2 and 1-2 count, 2-2 counts where we got burned a little bit. And the pitch execution is the most important part of what's going on. And there were some really good pitches. Like, we punched guys out and got out of some jams. I think Manka, the big punch out, Joe Charles, I'm probably forgetting somebody in there with all that was going on. But we managed the damage relatively well. That game could have gotten away from us. So I was pleased with some of the responses on the mound, even though it wasn't good enough. Like, there were a lot of mistakes, and we're trying to get balls in that are not in, and you're trying to get secondary pitches under the zone, and they're not. So that showed. Gage Harrelson, great at-bats, battled, and there weren't enough quality at-bats to string together, and their arms adjusted. It seemed like when our guys started to sniff it out, they did a nice job of getting off the fastball a little bit and going to their secondary stuff, and they played a better ball game. And some of the young guys that have experienced this for the first time, I think they can carry a lot out of this experience, especially at the plate, to understand some of the things we're working on and trying to do to manage that caliber of arm better than we did tonight. I thought Farrow played a nice game. The play up the middle, I thought, was just a phenomenal play early in the game. And Gage Harrelson, the diving catch, he continues to amaze out there with the range and the ability to close on the ball. But we were not the better team tonight. Florida played a better game.
It seemed like the first time you guys really went up against consistent velocity. I know you go up against that in practice, but you just think that they were kind of getting the fastballs in you guys, and that was why I kind of fall behind in counts?
Yeah, we just didn't adjust, and you don't have a lot of time to adjust between the at-bats. We talk about the rhythm and what a fastball feels like. You almost have to feel that from the dugout, and that's easier said than done. But at this level, and with the experience these guys have, and even the experience of seeing very similar stuff from our staff, you don't like to see the velocity itself get you. And it did. There was a sequence there where we popped a lot of balls up, but some of those guys have not been through it in this environment. This is a little different than when you're doing things in the cage. The adrenaline and maybe the feel and trying to do a little bit too much at times to match the velocity is not always the answer. Sometimes you have to simplify it and maybe even do a little bit less. So when I say the lessons learned in this, some of those younger guys, I think, can take that and really understand now, like, what it feels like in this setting with the adrenaline and the juices flowing a little bit more, and then try to calibrate a little bit better with the fastball. You just don't have enough time to spare. It's got to be an instantaneous feel that you have.
Did Evan give you guys any feedback on what he was feeling?
Well, I knew where he was pointing, and that was enough. So he felt it a couple pitches, and then clearly he was looking at us, and I was curious. I'd never seen that mannerism before, so I could tell something was not quite right, and that's tough. Like that, it does take the wind out of your sails, and it's not in any way an excuse for how we played, but there is that quietness that goes over everybody, our fans, our team. So it's unfortunate, and I hope it's not a serious thing.
How challenging is it? You mentioned the mistakes, but obviously when Evan goes out and you have the pickoff that goes wide, and then second
Then the big
home, how challenging is that when you just kind of had something that hits you in the gut for that to go on, and you think that kind of maybe snowballed a little bit in those opening 3 or 4 innings?
Well, probably. The pickoff, and then they capitalized. They did a really nice job, and good teams do that. We've seen our team do that, and we will do that. When you find that little chink in the armor and a team gives you an opportunity, your quality teams tend to capitalize. It doesn't happen every time, but tonight it happened with frequency. And we didn't contain the ball sometimes behind the plate as well as we needed to. They seem to capitalize. We don't contain the pickoff. I know it's a very tough play. And then the mistakes, like some of the mistakes on the mound, like it's not a glaring glitch that happens defensively. It might be missing your location by 6-8 inches, but that is massive when you're talking about the game played at this level. So every little mistake we made, they absolutely capitalized on tonight. And it could have gotten, we made plenty more, and I was proud of some of the guys that came in that did hold the game in check, because that was on the verge of getting away from us a little bit.
A few of the wild pitches, it seems like they find it feels like their balls that Jackson normally blocks. Do you think that's just getting back up to speed, or maybe not being 100% yet?
I don't know, but yeah, he usually contains those, and sometimes, you know, a difficult block that does care him a little bit is one thing. He had a couple that he didn't even contain, and nobody's given it a better effort than him. I will tell you that. So it's not anything to do with the effort. You know, keeping your eyes ahead of the ball when you are catching, and you're trying at times to be in a position to receive versus maybe block and contain, and that transition is the most challenging thing at that position. And with the caliber of the stuff that we're running up there, it makes it that much more difficult. So that adjustment when you're trying to maybe receive something, or you're expecting to receive it, and it turns into a really challenging block, it's tough.
You mentioned a couple of times guys experiencing this for the first time. Did you sense any nerves or anxiety in the dugout? And did you see any leadership from the older guys that had been through this, trying to help the guys out and get them going?
I saw no nerves at all. And yes, the older guys, I hear Lodis and Max and Fish talking to Miles and BJ and helping them understand, like, this is what the fastball looks like, this is what the breaking ball, this is what you can see. So I didn't see anything out of Miles or BJ or the new guys, or Prescott, or any of the guys that were in the game out of the bullpen. Manka, I mean, look at the situations we put some of these guys in today. So I did not see any nerves. I didn't see the execution required to win a game like this, but I didn't feel that it was nervousness or fear of the competition at all.
Coach, do you feel like despite the outcome of the game probably not being what you guys wanted, do you feel like that pressure, that lack of pressure to like remain undefeated, do you think that's gonna like, I guess, help, kind of relieve some of the pressure off heading into ACC play this weekend?
That's pretty cool pressure to have, and I think the guys take a lot of pride in that. It's hard to do that. There's things that happen in these games that it just doesn't go your way sometimes, and to get to this point and banged up, like we got guys that you thought would have been playing, could have been playing, could help. They're not. It's pretty remarkable. But I think they like that, and there's enough challenges in this thing just to walk out there and try to play well. But to extend that and keep that going is really neat. And I did not ever realize as a coach that would be something that I liked and looked forward to, but I did. And it's unfortunate that I guess we're out of that now, and there may be one team remaining. Hard to do. It's hard to win 4 in a row, 3 in a row. Sometimes it's hard to win 2 games in a row. And I don't care who you're playing. There have been some good teams that have come in here, and it's not easy to get to this point where we're even having this type of conversation.
Felt like coming into the year that John was starting to find some consistency, but since that first outing hasn't really been able to command the baseball. Just what are you seeing from him the last few weeks?
Well, everything has ticked down a little bit, and I think at times he's not out in front enough on some of the secondary pitches. That's what I saw in the last outing. This one today was so quick, and I was trying to get ahead of it. It was hard for me to unpack the hit by pitches, I guess, and did the one get the guy in the foot or not is tough to say, but the other one was nowhere near. I think that was a fastball, and he left it up. So getting that thing back down in front with the extension that we usually see with the finish, whether it's fastball or the secondary pitches, that's what he needs to do. And it's tough. Like when you have some outings that you've stacked that don't go your way, I talked to him in the meeting. Like you got to recalibrate and flush and toughen and grow and go with it. And he's going to have a chance in the next couple of days to touch and feel it and do some work. He'll sort it out. He'll help us.
On the flip side, getting Hudson back on the mound, just how big is that for you guys?
It's huge. And I actually thought the stuff was maybe better than before he had his injury. I think he's up to 93. I think he threw a lot of pitches that could have gone either way. I thought his breaking ball that he threw was really, really good. And it's hard. You look at the line score, if you just look at it, what is it? A third of an inning, 2 walks and no strikeouts, whatever. That stuff was probably better than when he left the game in his first outing. So that's encouraging.
We haven't talked to you since Saturday. Is Jamie still tracking in his work to be back out there? On
Much
Friday?
better. Now, it may not be Friday because of his little setback, but he is trending to pitch this weekend. He's trending. It may not be.
So it may shuffle the rotation?
It may. But he's, he missed a day, and you're kind of figuring out what's right, and it looks like he's on track to pitch this weekend. And if it's not Friday, it's not Friday. That doesn't matter to me as much as him being Jamie and doing his thing when he's called upon.
Coach, with BJ Gibson being a 2-sport star, what have you seen from him so far as development goes? Has his batting gotten better since, or is it kind of different with a 2-sport star, him not having as much time?
Well, it's a lot different. You've missed the entire fall and the preseason trying to acclimate. Like some of his ramp up was acclimation again. I mean, he had put baseball down for a good reason, like for a while, for a long time. And it's not easy to just pick it back up and jump into this stuff, but there's dynamic bat speed, there's dynamic get up and go foot speed. He's very confident and rangy in the outfield. So the upside, I mean, this is a freshman that had put the game down. Clearly there's some things. He gets big at times with the swing. He knows it. We're working on it. It's hard not to get big in this setting. Like you've waited your whole life to hit in this environment. And I think he was trying to almost match what he saw and got a little bigger, and that's why some of those things got by him. But if you would say on schedule for somebody that didn't play the game for that long, he's right on schedule, probably well ahead.